Zach, what he said, what he meant?
First of all, let me say this.
Peculiar?
I've never used the word peculiar. And I had to ask what it meant. Okay, and weird. Okay, weird. They're definitely in a weird place. No GM. They don't realize what teammates are going to be there. They don't know if they know one thing, they're not good enough to beat Golden State. So they're trying to figure that out. So they are in a weird place. I agree with him.
Oh, without a doubt. They're capped out with money. They have no room for improvement. I mean, if you can get another player and keep Love, if you trade Love for, say, an all-star player, you're still moving lateral. You're still not good enough to beat the Golden State Warriors. Right. So that's what he means by we're in a peculiar place.
And I think Kyrie's in a tough place right now because
peculiar.
Peculiar.
He is an all-star player in this league. This is a player who's had great finals success, all-star game MVP. Who, if LeBron leaves next year and leaves him with this roster, this is not a roster built around Kyrie Irving. This is a roster built to play around LeBron James. And the guys who got paid, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, who are part of Clutch Sports, part of his group, they don't fit necessarily as well around Kyrie. And those guys on the cap have hindered their ability to do things. So I think Kyrie would like to have a voice in all that's going on here. That, listen, anybody who plays with LeBron is going to be secondary. But I think Kyrie would like to be 1A to his 1, and he doesn't really have a voice in this. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the year about how patient Kyrie is with that.
And look, obviously his best long-term play is to keep LeBron in Cleveland for the rest of LeBron's really functional star years. And he might have been doing a little recruiting himself to try to help that effort. We saw a video yesterday of Kyrie in LA playing pickup with Carmelo Anthony. I mean, look, remember, Melo has told the Knicks, the two teams that he will waive his no-trade clause for are Cleveland and Houston. But remember, guys, in the last week, he's kind of made it clear he prefers the Rockets. So, Paul, do you think Kyrie could have done or said anything there to kind of be like, come on, we're fun too. Come hang out with us.
I'm sure they probably went to lunch after the pickup game.
Right.
I mean,
a little recruiting.
They're trying to get better. I mean, but the difficult part about it is they don't have the assets. They're not giving Love for Carmelo. It would have been happening.
That deal was available 6 months ago.
It would have happened 6 months ago. So that's not happening. So as much as we want to talk and say Carmelo to Cleveland, how is it going to happen?
Well, the only way is really a buyout, and the Knicks have said they're not going to do that.
And if Carmelo's going to accept a trade to Cleveland versus Houston, LeBron's only committed one more year there. So does Carmelo want to have to spend the second year of his contract?
Well, doesn't he have an opt-out?
But I think there's a lot more confidence that Chris is going to be in Houston than LeBron.
James will definitely be in Houston one way or the other.
Right, and I think that, but there's no question. I think for Melo, Houston is his priority right now. And listen, if this was AAU basketball, Carmelo could just go join up with Kristen or with Kyrie this weekend. They could go play in their tournament wherever it is, but a trade has to happen. They have to become, the pieces have to get into place, and both Houston and Cleveland right now have a real tough time matching up assets with New York.
I don't know.
Look, I think it's definitely recruiting. I'm pretty sure they talk about it all day, but I agree with you. Kyrie should have some input. He should have a say, so I think he's earned that. He's hit a lot of big shots in the finals, especially the championship year, so he deserves to say so, and if he's out there recruiting Carmelo, it might not happen, but it's still a good thing to do.
LeBron's not recruiting this summer.
He's made calls. In fairness, he's made calls. He hasn't done something out of the ordinary of what he usually does. You know those guys. You of all people know the texts and the phone calls happen all the time.
The emojis.
The emojis.
So
Jimmy Butler was part of that game too. So that pickup game, I don't know who was recruiting who in that game. We'll have to see. Maybe Jimmy's trying to recruit Kyrie to Minnesota.
Maybe it was just a pickup game.
Will Williams, a lot of guys were in that.
Nothing is just a something in the way the players move around these days, right? I mean, James Harden just had lunch with Chris Paul, and all of a sudden he's a Rocket. So there you go.